Hi everyone. Hello, hello. How are we all doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. I am in the woods. I am. I'm in the forest. Hope everyone's having a lovely day so far. I'm having a pretty good one myself. You like my skirt? Oh, well, thank you. Designing this avatar was a very fun process. I was, for those who don't know, I got the avatar made by someone called Starberry Vi, um, who is not currently taking commissions, but you know, discussing and designing the outfit and everything was a really fun process. Yeah, Starberry did amazing work with how the avatar turned out, and I'm incredibly happy with how the rigging went myself. Um, Tail rigging really fun, really difficult. Turns out. um, I wanna show you something actually. We're gonna zoom in really tight because there's something cool. So you see the chains on the choker. They're not really that animated. Um just because I wanted to save on processing a little bit. But the chains here on the choker were actually broken up by Starberry so that I could add physics to those chains if I wanted to. It's just an extra bit of processing that I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to do. And the ear wiggles. I'm so happy with those. Yeah. Yeah, no, rigging a VTuber model and and prepping a model for rigging is a whole process, right? Like Starberry made the visual assets and then broke everything up on the PSD layer by layer, which is how we had the various animatable parts. Um, and she was kind enough to include like reference stuff with what the mouth should look like when it's smiling and that sort of thing, so that when I started doing the rigging and animating of it, I had these lovely guides to work with. Um, and I did a ton of research, right? Like, I don't know if you've noticed the way the highlights in the eyes move when I blink, but they move like slightly out of sync with the eyelids. I'll have a little spippy. I'll have a little spippy. And yeah, the ways the ears do a little wiggle when I blink. They also change with the expression, actually. I know water is still 2K. I'm just slow at doing that stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and edit the order live on stream real quick. Let's see. Mm-hmm. There we go. There we go. Listen, it's y'all's fault for trying to make some kind of fucked up piss stream during the marathon stream. I've had to put tight controls on water. I've had to put tight controls on water because of the decisions that you all collectively made. This is collective punishment. Okay, well, I've lowered the price, but there is now a 30-minute cooldown. At the start of the marathon stream, I had several people rapid fire redeeming the drink your water redeem. And I made a joke that it was not going to be an Omarashi stream. And then I had to explain to chat what Omarashi is and had to perhaps moderately embarrass myself in front of the public for knowing what Omarashi is. But wouldn't you know it, the moment I said, hey, we're not making this an Omarashi stream, everyone suddenly really wanted to make it an Omarashi stream. And so a bunch of people started redeeming even more drink your water, and so I had to raise the price to 2,000. Crazy, right? How someone even discovers that's a thing? By knowing people who are into it. There's the truth. It's not really my thing. I have friends who it is their thing, and I respect it. Honestly. Do you? Do you? I am seriously a very strong proponent in all things of, like, as long as no one's being hurt and everyone agrees to whatever it is you're doing, like, do you? Do you? So, yeah. Yeah, I had to raise the price, and, I have now lowered the price back down, but 30-minute cooldown. So, that should solve the problem, I think. I have some fun ASMR related news. Actually, some fun stuff to share with you all. I went grocery shopping yesterday. It's true, I did. And while I was out, I set a little budget for myself to look for new potential ASMR supplies. I do have oranges, that is true. I do have some fruit. That's not the reason I mentioned it. I set myself a budget. I set myself a budget to buy a couple ASMR supplies while I was out. So what I did was I got a pair of jars and some rocks. So, you know, check this out. This first jar, it has a wooden lid, okay? And so I can make fun scratchy noises on this. That's already a pretty big thing, you know? Pretty nice. But then I can also do the sounds of opening the jar. And then, once the jar's open, there's rocks in there. there's rocks in the jar. And I can use them for ASMR. They're a little bit noisy, so I have to be very gentle with them when I'm attempting to do ASMR, but that wasn't bad, right? That wasn't bad. I don't think. I think it's a solid ASMR trigger, right? Not bad. But then, you see, I got 2 jars. And this one, it has a metal lid. I could make horse clopping noises on that, first off. And the lid makes all kinds of fun sounds. And you'll never guess what's in this jar. You'll never guess what's in this jar. More rocks. There's more rocks in there. And I'm planning on getting all sorts of things that I can put in these jars, right? For future stuff. So, smaller things, sandy stuff. We should be able to make really, really fun ASMR with these. That's kind of one of the fun things about doing ASMR is just going out. I do admittedly feel a little bit weird when I do this. But like I'll go to like a store and I'll just go to like the clearance section or like craft supplies or whatever. And I'll just start walking around and just like feeling up the various items that they have on display. I'll set myself a little budget, and it's like, I can buy $15 worth of random junk today to make ASMR with. And it's genuinely really fun. I like doing that. So we have new supplies that we can use for ASMR. I'm very excited to do it. Fuck! God, you're right. I think I have the receipt saved somewhere. I think I do. I need to start saving the receipts that I spend of the purchases I make on this stuff. I can write that off on my taxes. Legally. I'm allowed to do that. I need to do that. Taxes are so scary when you make your living this way. Like, I don't know if you know this. I'm gonna shake up a bottle of liquid while I talk as some ASMR. But like with what I do, I don't the payments that I get from YouTube, from Twitch, from Patreon, none of those have the taxes like deducted from them already. Okay? It's all stuff that like they give you the money and then you pay the taxes at the end of the year all at once. Right? And it's about 20%. So about a fifth of all the money that comes in. The thing is, when I first started, I didn't really like consider all of that and how that would work. And because I'd been so used to having jobs that would pay me and they would deduct the taxes off rip, and so, you know, tax season comes and it's like, oh, I get a tax refund, I get money back, it's great, it's amazing. That's not the case for me anymore. I have to do it myself. I have to plan that out myself, and I didn't last year. And so this year when I'm doing my taxes, when I was doing my taxes this year, most of the money in my bank account just disappeared instantly. Because I forgot that I didn't consider, you know, that I would need to pay them all on my own at the end of the year when I was doing my taxes. So it was just all gone. I was like, I'm doing so good. I'm saving up so much money. Life is going great. I might be able to pay off my student loans soon. And then suddenly all of the money was just gone. So now I plan my finances around having 20% less money than it looks like I do. And then that's fine. Well, what the hell? So, yeah, I need to keep track of that. And I also, again, because this is my job, I should start saving the receipts for stuff that I buy for ASMR. I need to keep that stuff. So that I can say, like, yeah, I did buy this jar and these rocks for my work. I did do that. I mean, hell, I bought this brand new PC last year specifically for streaming, specifically for this work that I do, right? Or my Adobe Creative Suite subscription. I pay for that so I can do this, right? Like, I should be keeping a record of that. So I should start doing that more. If the IRS starts questioning, they'll have to watch the videos. You're so smart. You're so smart. Do I need to hire a bookkeeper? I can't afford to hire a bookkeeper. Say, like, I make my living doing this, yeah. I don't earn enough to pay someone else for any of this. Oh, hello, Sunboy. Like, I make barely enough to actually be earning money. What's your opinion of the American tax system, Ravioli? Do tell. Well, he's in my lap right now, so. Rav, what do you think of the American tax system? Would you like to tell the people? Again. I believe that Ravioli thinks I shouldn't have to pay any taxes at all. Ugh. I do think when it comes down to it, like, I'm gonna save all the receipts and everything. I'm probably going to be paying someone else to do my taxes next year. Because trying to do your taxes when you have 3 separate income sources that make up the money you use to make your living is... Ugh. It was so exhausting this last year. So, Um, yeah, I definitely don't earn enough to like justify properly hiring someone for like a long-term thing of any kind. Um, oh, Rav is so comfy cozy right now. Oh my goodness. How we should be. Yeah, do you want to be in my lap right now? I would pet you. I would pet any one of you. That's a true fact. I would give you so many pets and scritches if I could. The unfortunate thing is I'm super busy petting Rav right now, so I'm struggling to like I want to do ASMR for you all, but like there's a little guy here. There's a little guy right here. Oh my goodness. He's so soft. Here, do you want to come on the desk, Rav? Do you want to come on the desk? Do you want to purr for everyone? Come on up. Come on. Yeah, there's the guy. Here we go. Some purring ASMR, courtesy of my son. He's so good at ASMR. He's literally so good at it. Hi, buddy. Oh, and now he licked my hand. Okay, cool. I'm kind of tempted to for next week's ASMR stream. We might, and this might be controversial. We might not do viewers' choice ASMR next stream. Like next week's ASMR stream. It might be something else. Next week's ASMR stream might be, it might be hand cam gunpla building. If perhaps you all would be amenable to that. I want to build gunpla. I want to build gunpla. Oh, Mr. Guy. You can go where you want as long as you don't step on the keyboard. Don't touch my drink either. Don't get your hair into my drink. Sir. 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 There are rules. There are boundaries here. Here we go. Yeah. It's a proven fact that trans people love building intricate plastic builds. That's, oh my god. See, we're going into summer right now. So the boy is shedding like crazy. He is shedding like, I mean, he's normally shedding quite a bit, but like, Jesus, he's covered the mic in hair. I don't think these are gifts. I don't think he's giving his hair as a gift. Oh yeah, we're making extra sure that we have like a couple windows in the house open and his water bowl is staying full. He has a very fancy water bowl. Because growing up, he had a very fancy water bowl, okay? With a fountain built into it. And it's great. But the issue is that because he grew up with a fountain, he genuinely does not know that water in a bowl is water he can drink. If the water isn't from a fountain, he does not understand that he can drink it. So we have to give him a super fancy bougie water bowl, or he won't drink enough. He is kind of stupid, that's the truth. Is he orange? No, his brother is, though. Yeah, the Rav emote is a picture of Sunboy Boyson. That's true. That's a true fact. Look at this thing. That's my son. That's him. That's the guy who's doing the ASMR. Yes. Yes, drown me in your Rav emotes. Here we go. Here we go. Nice and clean once again. The boy is currently on a chair, kind of staring at me, so he might make a reappearance later in the stream. He might. We will have to see. He deserves attention. He deserves all the attention. It's true. I'm spipping my water of my own volition. What do you think of that? One last little yappy thing I want to do before I open up the votes for ASMR concepts. But I've been doing something kind of silly with some of my recent audios, right? Because we have the B Patreon audio and the recent twin audio that got released on YouTube. I need to stop doing that. I need to stop doing audios where I'm playing two characters at the same time. It's so hard. It's so hard to do. Especially because I don't properly script my audios out, right? I improv them. And so what ends up happening is like, for like a 20-minute audio, I do 20 minutes of improv as one character, right? And then when I switch to the other character, I now have to do more improv while also responding to the things that I said previously. And so I'm constantly like going back and redoing things, and I love those audios, right? I love listening to them, and it's not that I don't enjoy making them, but the effort involved in making them compared to the others, if everything went perfectly and I got everything done on the first take both times without having to go back at all, it still doubles the overall recording time, just fundamentally, right? And things never go perfectly the first time recording that type of audio. So I think I do want to do audios of that type again in the future, but I think those ones might have to be properly scripted because otherwise it's really rough. Oh, where's baby boy going? Under the desk. He's going under the desk. Sir, we don't chew on cables. Why did I go tiny? How did that happen? I just looked away. I just looked away and then I went tiny. Mr. Sunboy, he's committing so many crimes today. He's committed more accurate. Listen here. Listen here. Sir, do I need to lock you out of the room? Genuinely, do I need to lock you out of the room? It is not safe for you to chew on that. It is not safe for you to chew on that. It's not. No. Do you want to electrocute yourself, sir? I can't allow that. Yeah, you're being evicted. Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. Poor little bud. Poor little bud. Isn't lore accurate? I go off the 4.5 feet from the Dragon HRT video. There we go. Behold. Lore accurate Faye. See, this is the thing I'm always saying, okay? I think if we were talking about real life practicality, it would be inconvenient to be so incredibly small. But if I had full creative control over my body, then my ideal self would be basically this, around 6 to 12 inches tall, with the ability to transform into a dragon the size of a house cat. That would be my ideal self. I think I would be filled with so much joy if I could use a teacup as a hot tub. That would make me so happy. That would have any of y'all ever played Mice Tea? Y'all know the super tiny route in Mice Tea? Your little mouse? You take a warm bath in some tea? That's how I want to be. That's how I want to be. Fundamentally though, I think I just want to be much smaller than I am. You know, I have the super crazy height dysphoria. And so I think my desperate desire to be a fairy dragon might just be that height dysphoria being taken to its logical conclusion. But I do also think, you know, there's something to it with I've for most of my life had a thing for fairies and dragons. I've talked about how I grew up reading D&D rulebooks for fun, right? But beyond that, I think the three most formative series for me as a kid, right, around like elementary school age, the three most formative book series for me at that age would have to be the Animorphs books, the Artemis Fowl books, and the Fablehaven books. And then I also read the Maximum Ride books in elementary school, which and middle school. I read those in middle school too. So yeah, and you'll know, right? Of the three most influential book series that I mentioned, one of them, Animorphs, is like a quintessential trans kid reading experience. Eggs be reading Animorphs all the time. They're always doing this. Yeah. There are definitely some real. There's some stuff. If you look back at Maximum Ride today, I might honestly reread it sometime just to see like what the hell's up with it. But there's some shit with Animorphs, but it definitely is like something that can be resonant with a particular type of kid, and was resonant with me. And I did want that. That was one of the inciting incidents of, dear God, I want wings. Give me wings. I need to have wings. Please let me have wings. I want to have wings so bad. But you'll note that two of the three books, book series that I listed as super formative for me had fairies and or dragons as super focal pivotal elements, right? Obviously the Artemis Fowl books, it's all about fairies. Holly Short, I love you. Does ACAB include Holly Short now that I think about it? It might. That's fucked up. That's fucked up to think about. But I absolutely loved the Artemis Fowl books. And I wanted to be a fairy. I thought that was cool. But Fablehaven, I think, was the #1 most influential book series for small child me. And Fablehaven is it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I've read Fablehaven as an adult. It holds up. It really holds up. Honestly. Like it clearly has a target audience. And so I don't necessarily think you should be trying to read too much too many adult themes into it, right? But Brandon Mull, the author of Fablehaven, if I remember correctly, is very much an author who he's writing this book series for kids, right? And he is very much treating the kids reading it as people who are capable of handling pretty complex topics. And he takes the reader seriously. There's some fucked up shit that happens in these books, to be clear. That's you know, we're reading this book series in my elementary school library, and it's like casually we have casual dismemberment happening, and it's like, oh, that book series honestly strongly influenced how I worked as a dungeon master for a lot of my earlier the way that Fablehaven was written was super influential on me as a dungeon master early on, and it still is, honestly. Some of the later books have these sections where they're delving into these vaults where powerful relics are being kept, right? And there's so much interesting puzzle design in these books and ways of handling things, right? In one of the earliest ones of those, there was a super interesting little gimmick where super early on there is a big open room with a mural painted across the ceiling. And on that mural are various apes of all kinds. Like 24 apes. Gorillas, orangutans, chimps, all that. And what happens is when you enter the room, if you are carrying a weapon, that weapon immediately disappears from your possession, and one of the apes on the ceiling emerges from the painting, now wielding that weapon. And so the idea is that it's supposed to disarm you, so you have to go through the rest of the dungeon without a weapon. And so the characters have to kind of consider their choice, which is either fight every single one of the apes until the mural is empty, or just push on without their weapons. It's a super cool way of forcing that decision and pushing the characters to go deeper into the dungeon using only the tools that the dungeon itself presents them with. I think that's pretty sick. I think that's a cool way of doing it. And a huge part of the Fablehaven books is based around fairies and demons and dragons. The two main characters, who are the grandkids of the caretakers of a basically magical nature preserve. That's the whole deal with it, is that magical beings do exist and have existed for a long time, but as humanity continued to expand and continued to, destroy their ecosystems and environments, and the world became more hostile to magical creatures, these nature preserves were made, basically, all over the world for various magical creatures to be safe and cared for. And our main characters, Seth and Kendra, are the grandkids of these caretakers, and they're being introduced to this world. And Seth ends up having a demon for a teacher at one point. against the wishes of everyone else. Everyone else is like, Seth, don't do it. Don't trust this guy. He might seem nice. He used to eat people a lot, and he probably still wants to. Seth is like, but Growlithe is a cool guy, and he's teaching me sick shadow magic that will have no consequences. Kendra, the other main character, ends up forming a pact with the Queen of Fairies, and she becomes what's called fairy kind. She's no longer fully human. She is part fairy, and so she can speak their language and survive certain fairy magics that would kill a normal human. And it's really neat. It's really neat. And so obviously fairies are a huge part of the story the whole way through. And the various dragons in the world are really cool conceptually. Each dragon has its own unique breath weapon and its own unique function and way of living. There's like a poison dragon whose blood and everything is poison. Completely venomous, poisonous, everything. You can't survive just being in the room with this dragon without having prepared beforehand. There's a sleep dragon. His name is Glamis. One of the dragons that ends up joining the group and helping everyone is the son of the king of dragons. And so he was expected to be very powerful, but before he hatched as an egg, he ended up being like separated somehow. And so his egg was cared for by fairies until he could hatch. And what that means is that a lot of the other dragons look down on him now, because he is this dragon that's imbued with fairy magic. And so he's only the size of a horse. And his breath weapon heals and causes plants to grow. And he's super embarrassed about it, but yes, Fairy Dragon Prince Outcast. He's amazing. He's amazing. And watching him grow more confident over the course of the series and coming into his own, it's so good. He's so good. Yeah, only the size. Well, when you consider how big the other dragons are, the size of a horse isn't much. So I think, considering these book series that were super influential on me as a kid, I think you can understand why, in my eyes, the ideal self is a fairy dragon. That is who I should be. That is who I wish to be. Deep in my heart, that is my ideal self. I'm in Persona 4 now. I'm in Persona 4. I get thrown into the TV and I meet my shadow. My shadow says, I am the shadow, the true self. I'm a lizard. My partner and I have been playing through Persona 4 lately, so... Persona 4 is one of the games of all time. It's one of the games of all time. There are bits of it that I really enjoy. Let Naoto be a trans man, for the love of God. Let Naoto be a trans man. Let Kanji just be gay. Let him just be gay. Okay. I'm gonna start the poll so we can get some ideas. I am going to put an idea of my own on the poll, okay? my own option on the poll. Random ASMR triggers while I yap about Persona 4. 30 DM helps you make a character for a role-playing game? Okay, I can do that. Sure. We can add Aggressive Renakier as an option. Keep going with that story. I can do some page turning and paper handling. Yandere cleans her doll ASMR. So the listener's a doll. Is the listener formally a person? Or was the listener like a doll that I created in that context? And I just don't want my doll to be independent. Okay, I'll add Yandere doll. I'm not 100% sure on it because I know that some people can feel uncomfortable with Yandere audios. Oh, that could be fun. Dungeon Guard ASMR, I love that. Relaxing with a sentient tank after a big battle ASMR. I see you, Para. I see you, Para. Oh, different Para, different Para, different Para. Advisory detection false. Really? Someone else wanted sentient tank. Interesting. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The other para is a friend of mine who happens to be watching stream right now. There can be more than one. I hate to be the bearer of this news. There's allowed to be more than one para. There's allowed to be more than one para. It's true. More than one person can have a given name. Names are not exclusive. It's true. It's true. It's true. Did you know that? There's a pair of them. Did you know naming? We have a tight race. We have a tight race. Wait, what? Automod thought that that was misogyny? Huh? That's what it was saying it for? I saw it almost got automodded. Misogyny? Just saying the name Para a few times is misogynistic? Automod. Oh, it means bitch in Spanish. Well, haven't we learned something today, my friends? Haven't we learned something? Alright. We're gonna do some ASMR while I talk about P4. Understood. I have a few ideas for things we can do. Things we can do, okay? I can do some brushing like I've been doing. I could play with my jars. I could crack open the I could take out the rubber gloves or do some typing sounds or writing. Why is Downhill Sky a robot right now? That is not necessarily for me to say. Robots are cool, it's true. I've mentioned in the past that some of my friends are plural systems. And sometimes a given headmate might just prefer to text a certain way. And I ask that everyone be kind. I don't think it's unfortunate at all. I think it's a lovely thing. So if everyone... Oh, about the low power mode? Fair enough. Frankly, I should not have called attention to Para without permission. That is a failing on my part. So everyone, please, please, please be kind, or I will kick you out. Okay? Okay. Good. Thank you, Para. So, what kind of ASMR triggers would you all like to listen to while I do my P4 yapping? Because I am opinionated. You do get more friend per friend. It's fucking great. Brushes? Okay. How does makeup brush sound? Is that a nice one for today? Okay. I think I went on yapping for perhaps a little bit more than I should have, admittedly. So I think we're only gonna really get the one thing, so I hope you all really wanted the P4 yapping. But here's the thing, okay? Persona 4. Okay, I'll have a spippy. Crack open the old water bottle. Persona 4 is a game that is ostensibly all about accepting your truest self, right? That's at the core of it. Oh, hello, Pan Wizard. I'm doing wonderfully. Welcome in. So that's ostensibly what the kind of overarching theme of Persona 4 is. It's about self-acceptance. It's about being willing to acknowledge and accept the parts of yourself that perhaps you're scared of or don't want to acknowledge. How do I feel about the mascot character? Teddy? Teddy's a bitch. I fucking hate Teddy. This happened in P5 too, alright? The mascot characters in P4 and P5 are so weird towards the women in these games. They need to stop. I think I prefer Morgana to Teddy, and I do like in P5 Royal when Morgana becomes a human boy for a bit, but nothing else about your reality changes, and so you wake up with Morgana as a human guy just lying on your chest. I think that's great. I think that's great. I think that's fucking phenomenal. But overall, right? Morgana's behavior around An in P5 is kind of the worst. And Teddy is worse than that. Teddy is constantly flirting with everyone for no reason. Morgana is a boy, yes. He's literally hitting on everyone, and he has no game, to be clear. He just aggressively objectifies all the women in the game. It's so bad. And he's constantly coming up with these contrived situations. And part of it, like character-wise, it's because he was raised by the TV. Because he was raised in the TV. But it is still just bad. Other characters, I have really liked a lot of them. Some of them I have not. The nurse social link in P4 makes me feel deeply uncomfortable, so my partner and I have just agreed that we're not doing that one anymore. I really like Nanako and Dojima. This little kid and her dad that you're living with. I think they're both very compelling characters, and the interactions that you, the player character, get to have with them are really cool, right? Because you get to teach this dad who's fixated on avenging his wife, avenging his daughter's mother, right? And bringing her killer to justice to the extent that he is neglecting his daughter over it. You get to kind of have the experience of showing him that the daughter that's still here, who just wants her dad, is more important, right? I think that's really good, right? So those two characters I really like. And I like several of the characters in general, but there are a lot of little things about a lot of them, right? Oh, he's so upset that he's locked out of the room. Okay, I'll let him back in. I'll let him back in, but if he starts eating wires again, he's getting locked out again. Brava Bulgy. Hi. You're gonna get smooched. No, no. Smooch the boy, smooch the boy, smooch the boy. Shit, Rav. That's fucked up what you just did to me. Yeah, you yell to come in here, you jump up into my lap, I give you a smooch, and then you kick me in the chest, leaping off. And you cut open my titty with your claw. I have a cut on my titty now. Why do we never hear about Rav's brother? Because he does not live with us. He lives with Lynn's cousin. Oh my goodness. So, kind of like I mentioned, the fundamental main plot of Persona 4 is based around accepting yourself. And the way that works is you're in a small town called Inaba, and there is... Oh, you have a lovely day, Para. You have a lovely day, Foxsoul. You're in this small town called Inaba, and there is a serial killer. Okay? People are dying. Bodies are being found tangled up in, like, the electrical wires. And you eventually discover that you have the ability to enter into the TV. You can go inside the TV, and there is a whole other world in there. And you also gain the ability to predict who the next victim will be, using a thing called the Midnight Channel. And you eventually find out that essentially what's happening is that people are being forcibly thrown into the TV world, where they wander around aimlessly until they eventually discover their shadow, which is a reflection of themselves. Their shadow is the parts of themselves that they would prefer not to think about, that they would prefer to hide, that they would like to not acknowledge, right? And what happens when you encounter your shadow in the TV world is, if you're able to accept the shadow, accept that it is a part of you, then you get a persona and you're fine. But if you ever tell your shadow outright, you are not me, if you ever outright refute that your shadow is a part of you, it will turn into a monster and kill you. So that's sort of the central conceit of Persona 4. Is that this serial killer is throwing people into the TV to be killed by their shadows. And so what you are doing is you are going into the TV after them to try and find them and stop their shadow from killing them. Pretty simple, right? the thing is sometimes it works. Sometimes it really works, and you can really understand the character. But other times it feels like a character accepts a part of themselves, and then as soon as they're out of the TV realm, whatever that development was goes away. Is Persona an anthology like Final Fantasy? Generally, yeah. The stories are usually contained from each other. They're technically set in the same world, I think, but they're rarely related or interacting with each other at all. Yeah. Like a couple things from P3 do show up in Persona 4, but it's not relevant to the plot at all. Huge shout out to Tanaka, my favorite weekly TV salesman. It's mostly just Tanaka, yeah. The thing is, right? I'm gonna do a couple examples. The first character, this is gonna have P4 spoilers, just so you're aware. The first character that gets thrown into the TV is a girl named Yukiko, who is set to inherit an inn that her family has run for generations, that she has no interest in running. She acts like she does. She acts like she cares about it, but she doesn't. She wants to get out of Inaba. She doesn't want to live there anymore. She wants to escape. She wants to run. And she has a very close friend who is also a member of your party named Chie, who she has a very secret desire and dream to escape from Inaba with. How far along am I? Just finished Naoto's dungeon. And I'm gonna be honest, Yukiko and Chie have a lesbian thing going on. They just do. They simply do. They are gay for each other. Oh, hello, Pile23. Thank you so much for the sub. If you as a player ever romance either of those two characters, it's a fucked up thing to do because they obviously have feelings for each other. But Yukiko's shadow, because the shadows all frame what they're doing as like a show, as like a reality show or whatever. Yeah, Yosuke is indeed gay for the protagonist. He's a homophobic gay boy. Several of the characters in this game are homophobic gay boys. Yukiko and Chie. When you're in Yukiko's dungeon, she talks about her shadow is dressed as like a princess, and she talks about how she's looking for her prince to save her. She wants her prince. And by the end of the dungeon, it becomes abundantly clear that the person she truly considers to be her prince is Chie. It's good, right? And eventually, once you've defeated Yukiko's shadow, she does accept the fact that she doesn't want to inherit this inn. She acknowledges that she doesn't want to, that she wants to leave. Except, after you're out of the dungeon, it feels like that character development kind of goes out the window. And I've been told that she does end up inheriting the inn. She does fall into line eventually. It's frustrating, right? Another character later on, Kanji. Kanji is a delinquent character. He's strong and tough and likes brawling, and he hangs out with bikers, and he happens to have developed a crush on a character named Naoto. Naoto being a young detective boy. He has big feelings for Naoto. A huge crush on him. And so his dungeon, it's a little over the top. His shadow portrays itself as a very overly effeminate gay man. And the dungeon itself is portrayed as like a sauna. But it's because he's unwilling to acknowledge his feelings for Naoto for what they are. He's unwilling and unable to say, I have a crush on a guy. And he has this internalized idea that he would be emasculated if he did. Which is why his shadow and his part of the TV world is shown that way. And so we go through his dungeon, and again, we see him trying to accept that part of himself, but then once we're out of his dungeon, he is once again not properly acknowledging it. We get out of his dungeon, and now he's again saying this internalized homophobic stuff and saying that he's not into guys and that his feelings for Naoto are not a crush. It's like, are you fucking sure? Because I saw everything that was happening with your shadow. I sure fucking saw that. And so then we later on get to Naoto having his own dungeon. The princely young detective boy that Kanji has a crush on gets thrown into the TV as well. Oh, I have some feelings about Naoto. I have some feelings about Naoto. So Naoto comes from a family of detectives, right? His parents are detectives. His grandpa's a detective. He wants to be a detective. He wants to be taken seriously. He's also a high school boy. And he willingly gets himself abducted by the serial killer as part of a ploy to try and get information on what's going on. ACAB does include Dojima, unfortunately. It does not include Naoto. Naoto is a private investigator who just works with the authorities sometimes. He's just out here solving mysteries for the love of the game. Why are you just dropping blocks on me? That's fucked up. The thing with Naoto, okay? He deliberately gets abducted, and you end up in the TV going after him, trying to rescue him. And his dungeon looks like some kind of Super Sentai tokusatsu set. It's an evil scientist's lab with robots and things everywhere. Very Power Rangers-y, very Kamen Rider-y. And it's portrayed that way as described in the game, because as Yosuke says, tokusatsu is super manly. Who wouldn't want to be an action hero doing all this stuff? And Naoto spends all this time. Naoto's shadow talks about how he intends to do some kind of body modification experiment. That's what his shadow's talking about. And you get to the end, and Naoto's shadow is talking to Naoto about how he'll never be respected, how people will always see him as just a kid and never take him seriously. And eventually, it is revealed that Naoto is a girl. And I'm putting huge air quotes on that. Naoto is not a fucking girl, regardless of what the game says. Naoto is someone who, supposedly, in a desire to be respected, dresses as a guy. But you would think, you know, if it was just about being respected as a detective, he would only do it while at work. He could live a double life, but no, he chooses to be a princely young man at all times, in all hours of his life, in all occasions. That is how he wants to be seen by people. That is how he presents himself. That is how he refers to himself. That is everything. But the game does this. And everyone in the party is like, oh, you're a girl, okay. And Kanji's like, oh, so I'm not gay. Atlas. I'm on my hands and knees, begging you. Naoto is a trans boy. Let him be one. Kanji is a gay boy. Let him be one. Let them be gay. It's incredibly dumb. And I was forewarned of this fact beforehand, right? But it's so obvious that the body modification experiment that the evil scientist shadow version of Naoto is doing is essentially gender transition surgery, because that's cis people's perspective of what transition is. And it's meant to be perceived in a way that's kind of negative. But it's just so frustrating because, again, we have this character who has so much potential. This game is supposed to be about accepting the parts of yourself that you're scared to. And that's such a queer thing, right? Radical self-acceptance is such a queer thing, but it constantly chickens out of following through on its own premise. Yukiko doesn't want to inherit the inn. What she wants is to run away from Inaba with Chie, and the two of them just be together. Why do you have her fall back into the status quo after the fact? Kanji has feelings for Naoto and feels emasculated and afraid because of it. And by the end of his dungeon, it looks like he's accepting that part of himself, and then they fucking chicken out again. Hello, Lavender darling, welcome in. Yeah, Rav, it's bullshit, isn't it? Okay, except he is gay, Like, he has feelings for Naoto. That's the inciting incident of all of his insecurity. Is he has feelings for Naoto, who is a guy, regardless of what the writers try and say after the fact. Naoto is a guy. His dungeon is proof of that. Even if the game tries to explain it away in another way, the fact is, his shadow, his truest self, the one that he tries to bury but is a fundamental part of him, a fundamental part of Naoto as a person is that he wants to be a guy. That is indisputable. No matter how the characters try to explain it in the text, no matter what the writers think, textually, based on what we've been shown throughout all of these other dungeons and characters and how that's portrayed and what the shadows are to everyone else, the shadow is the true self. That's the fucking point, right? Naoto wants to be a guy, so he is one. So, Kanji has feelings for a guy. Whether he's gay or bisexual or what have you, the fact is, Naoto is a guy and Kanji has feelings for him. And so I just, as I play this game, as I go through this game with my partner, I'm constantly struck by this feeling that it could be so fucking good, right? The premise of self-acceptance being the way you survive is really fucking good. And it's really queer inherently. But they don't run with it like they should, because Atlas are cowards. They always are. They always have been. I love the Persona games, right? I do. P5 is a game that I personally replay regularly. My partner regularly replays P4. And all of these Persona games, they're really fucking good at times. They're really good sometimes. But at others, it sure is something. I wonder if the remake will change anything. So do I. it's tough, right? They're remaking this game that shows its age so clearly, right? And so they're kind of faced with this choice where either they change pretty significant plot elements for the sake of being more in line with what modern values are, and you know, dealing with the problematic stuff, but at the cost of, you know, what the game was, and the risk of not writing the rest as well around it. Or what I do think is more likely is they're going to keep it exactly as it is, and shit's gonna be so ass. Would you rather have a Persona 4 son or a Danganronpa daughter? I don't know, boss. I don't know. There are some trans characters who have been written a certain kind of way. They sure fucking have. I think Persona 5 is marginally better than P4 in this regard, but it still has some nonsense. You know, Ryuji being abducted by a pair of gay men to do a makeover or something. It's what are we doing, Atlas? What are we doing? What's happening? Oh yeah, no, that does happen in P5. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I think there really is something to be said about the writer of the Persona games, right? So the let's see. I remember one of the writers for the Persona games once said, because people want a female main character for the Persona games. That only happens in P3, if I remember correctly. We don't get a femc in basically any of the other games. And when kind of asked about that, was like, well, I just don't know how to write a woman because I don't have female friends or whatever, and I don't know how to relate to a girl. Motherfucker, just write a character. Just write a character. Change nothing except the pronouns, and bam, you have a lesbian. Fucking don't be a coward. I think Joker P5 should have been a lesbian, to be honest. I think that would have been great. And the thing is, clearly he does know how to write women, actually. Clearly he fucking does. I mean, we have women in these games who are fleshed out and interesting characters, right? They do exist. They do exist. We were doing the death social link last night, my partner and I, with P4. Hisano, her name is. She's in old woman whose husband recently passed away. And I genuinely broke down in tears over her story and her character and her feelings. She's the one who calls herself death. That's how she sees herself at this point. And she's so trapped in this horrible grief and these horrible feelings about herself. Like, clearly you can write a woman. Clearly you're capable of that. Hisano fucking hurt. She was a very well-written character. Or An in P5. She gives me some feelings, to be honest. She has a lot of stuff with the modeling industry and how girls are treated in that industry. That's an interesting story and an interesting character there. Well, An very much is meant to be seen as attractive. She is a model, right? So even if we're going that angle, like clearly An is a character who has really interesting and compelling stuff going on. She's a good, well-written character. Futaba in P5 as well. The introvert, awkward otaku girl who's trying to learn how to reintegrate into society again. I feel like P5 feels a little bit weird if you romance Futaba, but that's just me. I feel a little weird about that. But if you don't romance her, then the story that you get is of you, a kid who's been temporarily adopted by her dad for reasons, and who is now a part of her life, helping her to be brave and do things she was scared of. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The age gaps in Persona games with some of the romances. Usually you're the younger one, but either way, it's pretty bad. That's one of the many issues with the Persona games. Yeah. Anyways, if you take her social link as, the non-romance, yeah, I would agree with that. When you take her as just the character, it's stuff like she really wants to go and buy some new tech because she's like a genius hacker. She loves her computers and stuff. And so she wants to go out and buy some new stuff for her rig. And she's terrified to do it. And so you go with her and help her be brave in public. And she's so proud of herself and so excited when she starts to go to school again, right? She's terrified of it. I am posture checking, by the way. She's terrified of it, but when she does start to go to school and do things in public again, and live as a kid again, and she's so excited and happy, and you got to help her become confident enough to do it. It's really cool. It's good. You can clearly write women. You've done it before. Just do it. Just do it. Let us give me femc or give me death. It's unfortunate. When Persona 6 comes out, I'm probably gonna play it. Oh god, oh god, oh god, you've done cozy mode while I'm full body. Oh god, oh god. So yeah, I think the Persona games have so much potential. They can do so much. And when they are good, during the moments where they are good, they're really good, right? But there are all these little things that I totally understand if they would drive you off, right? I there's all this potential, and so I think that's maybe what makes Persona as a series so good for fandom, right? I think fandom is usually something that forms around imperfect media, where you have a big community of people who see the potential in something and say, we can do it better. We can realize this potential that it had. Persona has a lot of really high points with tens of hours of gaps between them, especially P3. Especially Persona. The grind in P3 between major story beats is something else. So yeah, I just think I think that for me, the potential that's there. Oh, hi Nikki. Hello, hello. I think why Persona really sticks with me is because there are so many amazing ideas in these, right? There are so many amazing ideas in this game. These games, plural, that make me want to see it succeed. I want to see it execute on what it's trying to do. And when it doesn't, I want to engage with the fandom to work out how it could. To, piece together. So what was that? What? Huh? It zipped by in chat really fast, but... Hello? Do you have a matter, Daddy? Huh? Huh? What? Huh? What does that mean? Oh. Oh, it's an up dog. It's an up dog. Whew. 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 Almost fucking got me. Almost fucking got me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that fucked me up. Ah, Jesus. Ah, Jesus. I almost got fucking up-dogged. You gotta be wary. You gotta be fucking wary. Oh, I don't know. What's up with you? I fucking got you. I didn't even mean to when I got you. I didn't even mean to when I fucking got you. Oh, I love an up dog. I love a good up dog. So, yeah. I I really want, I want P6 to be good. It probably won't be. Or, well, it probably will be, but also won't be. Right? And that's what I'm here for with Persona. That's what I'm after. That's what I'm always hoping for. Is something that's absolutely banging sometimes and also has garbage that I can dig through. Do you ever get that? Where you sometimes feel the need to deliberately engage with something that's kind of not good, specifically so you can look at it and say, I want to analyze why you are the way that you are. On a completely unrelated note, my partner and I have also been playing through the Kingdom Hearts games. The Kingdom Hearts games are so ass. I love them. The writing is nothing. You can just say darkness a bunch. You can just stick darkness and light a few times in a sentence. Bam. That's Kingdom Hearts. That's Kingdom Hearts right there. Gotta love the alternate route in Kingdom Hearts. What is it? Shattered Memories? Is that what it's called? The one where you're in the fucking tower. The card game one. Let's see. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. That's what it's called. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Chain of Memories. That's my guy. That's my guy right there. What the fuck is Chain of Memories doing? Why is Riku constantly sniffing in that one? Did anyone else notice that when they played through Chain of Memories? Am I alone in realizing this? Like, I'm gonna switch up the brushing sounds for our last bit of stream. But seriously, when you do like the alternate path of Chain of Memories, and you're playing as Riku, in like half of the cutscenes, he's talking about how he can smell the darkness in people or whatever. He can just smell stuff. He can fucking smell everything. All the time. And I don't know why he's constantly sniffing people, but he is. I just feel like that's really important. I also kind of love how Chain of Memories might as well have just not happened. Like, they both of our boys get their memories wiped by the end of it. And the girl that did it basically never appears again through the entire series, if I remember correctly. And this is also the game that introduces Organization 13. What are we doing? That's like the only thing of consequence that really happens in Chain of Memories. Is Organization 13 exists now, and Riku's become plural, I guess. They keep making characters plural in Kingdom Hearts. That's also a thing that happens. Sora has a lot of boy per boy. Also a girl for a little bit. He did have Kairi inside him for a while. Wait, what are we doing? What are we doing, Kingdom Hearts? What's the... Yeah, Tetsuya Nomura. Tetsuya Nomura, the writer of Kingdom Hearts, makes some stories. Any of you ever played The World Ends With You? Is anyone else familiar with The World Ends With You? It's also written by Tetsuya Nomura. My partner introduced me to that one. I do love Tweeby. I love Tweeby so much. I love Tweeby so much. I want to be called a Zeptogram. I need to be called a Zeptogram. It will make me feel so much better if I'm called a Zeptogram. So The World Ends With You is a 2-game series. There's Tweeby and then there's Neo Tweeby. And it's about a battle royale in the afterlife, basically. A bunch of people have died, and they're now being put into a battle royale after death with weird superpowers and stuff. And the winner of the battle royale gets to come back. That's the basic conceit of both games. There's a shit ton more going on, but that's the basic conceit. Is that the winner of the battle royale gets to come back to life, and the losers die permanently. They get erased. I am not familiar with No More Heroes, so I could not say. The important thing to know about Tweeby, though, is that it's written by Tetsuya Nomura, and my partner introduced me to it, and I remember they were telling me about their first time playing the game, right? Their first time playing the very first Tweeby game, which was for one of the DS consoles, I think. And they were telling me how, like, they noticed, like, the writing is kind of ass, but it also really compelled them. Right? And only after the fact, they looked it up and it was by Tetsuya Nomura. It's like, oh, that's why this really shitty writing compels me so much, because that's just Nomura. That's what he does. And that's one of the things that I do really admire about Nomura, honestly, is he comes up with these nonsense concepts and he's constantly dropping plot threads and he's constantly changing things and retconning things, and it's messy. It's messy, 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 messy. Okay? But because he is absolutely full sending it, because he is fully confident that he is making art, because he is fully committed to whatever it is he is doing at any given time, that passion, that energy, that vibe comes through. And so you're playing his games and you're thinking, what the hell is happening? What the hell is going on? I don't understand the motives of this guy who's just started trying to kill me. It's never been explained. I don't know that it will be explained. But at the same time, even though I have no fucking clue what's going on, this shit's kinda hype. That's what he does, right? And it works. It works. And so to that capacity, I really, really adore work like that, That's why I also find myself very compelled by the first 2 Danganronpa games, which have so much wrong with them. And yet, they compel me. It's why I like Persona, although admittedly I would say Persona has a higher standard of writing than those other 2, personally, on the whole. But there is still a lot of stuff that's like, wow, this shit is so ass. Compels me, though. So yeah, I just think that's an interesting experience. And Danganronpa. So we're at about when I would normally end the stream, so I'm not gonna get super deep into it. But they are murder mystery games. Don't say sorry. You're curious. And I was mentioning Danganronpa as something I find interesting and compelling. Basically, the core concept of Danganronpa is that you are a student at a school, typically, and you are one of the ultimate whatevers. Okay? You know, the whole deal is that this school has like the best of the best of the best of various things. Some of it's kind of like, we have the ultimate fanfic writer. Wow. The ultimate fanfic writer is a student at this school. The ultimate gamer. One character in the first game is like the ultimate detective, if I remember correctly. But you are a student in this school, but you've arrived and the school's locked down. No one can leave, and significant portions of the school can't be accessed. You're all locked in the school with this fucking weird teddy bear mascot thing called Monokuma. And Monokuma has informed you all that you're stuck here until his fucked up, silly game is over. I don't know exactly what the girl in the first Danganronpa is. She's like some kind of investigator, if I remember correctly. That's her ultimate thing. But you're in the school, you're trapped. This bear wants you to play his fucked up game. And basically the rules of the game is that in order to escape, you have to be the last one standing. If you're the last person alive, you get to escape. And the specific way that it works is you're encouraged to murder each other. If you kill someone and get away with it, because this class all has a trial together, after like, what is it, like a certain amount of time after the murder happens, you all have a trial. And if you manage to kill someone and get away with it, everyone else dies and you get to leave. But if you kill someone and get caught, you get killed. And the game continues. And so yeah, it's essentially like an Ace Attorney style game with a bunch of mini games mixed in, as well as general mystery stuff of trying to figure out why you've been locked in the school and all this. And different games have different settings, but they all have the various ultimates. The second game, you're on an island with everyone. It's a whole thing. And it's not good. I'm gonna just be 100% honest. The Danganronpa games are not good. Just fundamentally. And the first Danganronpa game sure does have some of the trans rep of all time. You know, I joked about a particular meme of, would you rather have a Persona son or a Danganronpa daughter? And that's because the trans rep we get in the first Danganronpa game is of this a similar variety to what we get with Naoto in P4. I love you, Chihiro. You deserved better. You deserved better, Chihiro. She's great. She deserved better. Yeah, deeply disappointing. So, yeah, the Danganronpa games. Complete ass. They are so bad. They are so bad. You probably shouldn't play them. Or maybe you should play them just to admire how ass it can get. That's what I do. That's what I do. Admire the car crash. Exactly. Exactly. Didn't they make an anime out of Danganronpa at some point? I think they did. There's a Tweeby anime as well. there's just something about playing games that are really bad. There's just something about playing really, really bad games. Okay. Well, we are a little bit past the point where we would normally end at this point. So we're probably gonna raid out. Of course. Thank you for listening to me yap. I'm so glad that today's chosen ASMR was just let Faye yap about video games while she does random ASMR triggers. You know, the role plays are fun, but it is also really fun and silly to just kind of talk and fuck around while we do some ASMR. So let's see who we want to go say hi to. Mindful Mess is live right now. She's playing Phasmophobia. Do you want to go from ASMR to Phasmophobia? Why not? Why not? Dramatic vibe shift. Dramatic vibe shift. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay. I should really come up with a proper raid message sometime. I should do that. Maybe, you know what? I'm gonna make a promise. By next stream, we're gonna have a raid message. It's gonna happen. Okay. Okay. I'll see you all later. Y'all have a wonderful day.